The Survivors is brought to you by our friends at Schoser Talent and Wellness Solutions. This podcast mentions suicide, mental illness, grief, and loss, and may be triggering for some listeners. So please take care of your mental well-being by pausing or skipping any sections that feel uncomfortable to you. And if you or someone you know is struggling, please call 988 for support. I'm so excited right now. Why am I excited right now? What is it right now?
It's Pride Month.
It's Pride Month. I know. I'm so excited. Every year I feel like I get more and more energized that it's Pride Month when June comes around. So the fact that June is now coming around and I have a podcast with you to get really excited about, it's got me all excited. We do, though, have to have an important conversation about pride and about mental health and about suicide prevention. But the fact that we can have it and we can laugh a little bit about it, I think will just make for a much better conversation. Don't you?
For sure. And it's not just about rainbows and unicorns and drinking and partying. You know, it's about coming out and feeling safe in your own shoes and feeling safe in your environment and feeling safe having somebody to come out to or just being able to talk to somebody. Pride is everything. I've been out for more than 45 years, maybe 48 years. So when I came out, it was really easy. I came out to my mom, but apparently she already knew. Thanks for cluing me in. I appreciated that. But when I came out, I think it was easier for me to come out. It was back in the 70s, 80s. And I didn't feel the pressures that people feel today because there's so many labels and there's so many things going on in the world that make it not safe for people to come out as their true selves. And it makes me really sad.
It makes me sad too. No, I came out late, super late in life. I mean, I'm 56 and I came out when I was 52. So I'm very much a late bloomer. I'm just a little queer baby. And I'm thrilled that I'm out now. And I wish that I had the wherewithal or the courage or whatever it was that I felt I didn't have at that time to come out. A lot of it was just an understanding for me about what I really was and what the feelings that I was feeling meant. It was an issue of language. I really didn't understand. So I'm pansexual and I didn't really understand that because it wasn't a mainstream word that we used when I was growing up. So what was ironic in my coming out story is that my oldest daughter, Riley, who came out when she was a junior in college, she came out as bi. She was the person who actually, unknowingly at the time, she was the one who actually helped me to figure out that I was queer. What it was about me that I couldn't ever put a word to. And she was just explaining to me the different nuances between things like bisexuality and pansexuality and omnisexuality, all the different categories and labels and words that I just didn't understand. And it's so liberating. It's such a beautiful feeling. Like I knew I would always have the support. I mean, if I had come out to my mom 30 years ago, 40 years ago, there's no question she would have been as supportive then as she was now, but it was a different world. And for whatever the reason, I kept that part of me hidden. And I'm just grateful that it's out right now. And I'm grateful that I can work with organizations like the Trevor Project. I'm a crisis counselor with the Trevor Project. And that's a big part of my identity now because there's a lot of intersectionality with my life as a suicide loss survivor and as a member of the queer community. I get to help people. I get to be on the lifelines. The Trevor Project, if you don't know about it, if you're listening and you've never heard about it, it's the largest LGBTQ crisis and suicide hotline on the planet right now. We help kids ages 13 to 24 with anything that they may be struggling with. And I just feel so absolutely blessed to be on the lifelines, especially right now. Like you and I were talking before we even hit record. You and I were talking about just the climate of the world that we're living in right now. Like we're coming into Pride season right now, Pride Month. And there's an undercurrent right now this year that we have not felt in a very long time. All of a sudden we did all this incredible forward motion and all of these incredible gains within the queer community. And now we're at a point where we feel like we're backsliding a lot and it's beyond a lot of people's control. And it is absolutely terrifying.
for me, because I've been out, like I said, 40 plus years. My wife's been out even longer. Like, I can't believe that we have to fight again for everything that we worked up to this point. But, it's another way for us to show kindness and compassion and empathy for people that are going through this every day, for my friends that are trans, for the kids out there, for the parents, because a lot of the resources that we had available to us even 2 years ago are now being yanked away. References to who we are, our labels, people can't use them in the government. I get it. But I'm going to remain who I am. That's right. I'm a big old lesbian. I ain't going back in the closet. Number one, I don't think I'm going to fit. I'm not going back. And I am someone that is safe to come out to. I'm not a mom, but I do give free mom hugs when available. I give advice where I can give advice. I have resources that people can use. And it's not just the younger generation, it's the older generation too, because now we're kind of having the rug ripped out from underneath us, and we don't know where to turn or how we can help. I'm going to mention this in every single episode. You can still call 988. Even if you're not having those suicidal ideations, but you feel like you're in crisis, call 988. They can help you. They can help guide you to a resource that is really going to be able to help you. They can talk you off the ledge. I'm alive today because of 988, and I'm thankful for that every single day. But I can't imagine how terrifying it is for a 10-year-old thinking about their sexuality and listening to the news and being fearful of coming out.
Yeah, these are tough times, and we want to focus on the positivity of pride and the excitement of pride and all the strides that the queer community has made. But it's hard right now. It's really, really hard. And people's mental health in general, like separate out the queer community, people's overall mental health right now is terrible. It's terrible for so many, many different factors. And then when you jump into the queer community, it elevates everything. It elevates the suicide rates. It elevates people's level of depression and exacerbates people's mental illness. I mean, I'm taking this now from my friends at the Trevor Project, this data. I love my data. 39% of LGBTQ plus young people seriously considered attempting suicide in the past year, including, and this number's scary, 46% of transgender and non-binary young people. It's scary right now. More than 1 in 10, that's 12% of LGBTQ young people attempted suicide in the past year. And those numbers are going to get higher. And more people are going to get desperate. So what's most important right now as we celebrate Pride is to also inform people like you're doing, inform people of where they can go, who they can turn to when the celebration dies down a little bit and the reality of the tough times we're living in kicks in and your headspace goes south and you don't know where to turn. Like G said, you call 988, or if you're a part of the queer community and you want to talk to a counselor, someone like me who has different types of resources that we can provide, call us at the Trevor Project. The number is 866-488-7386. They will absolutely be, all these numbers will be in our show notes and all over our social media as we post for Pride. But there's a lot to celebrate for sure, but there is also a lot to be afraid of. And it's how you and I always talk about life is a balance, right? And this is an example of that.
100%. And there's other resources, especially for parents who have children that are coming out. PFLAG, an amazing organization. There's the Family Acceptance Project. There's Trans Family Support. There's the Human Rights Campaign. There are so many resources out there, and we will make sure we have all these resources in our show notes.
Yep. There's SAGE for older members of the LGBTQ community as well. And this might actually be a good time to give the Help Hub a shameless plug.
Yes.
So the Help Hub is the platform that I run that provides people with mental health resources and content and support. And the way that the Help Hub is structured is that It provides resources for unique communities. Like if you're in the BIPOC community, if you're part of the veterans community or the elderly community or the queer community or the Asian community, there are resources specific to you and to your demographic and your unique needs. And I have a massive, massive section for LGBTQ resources. If you go to the helphub.co, again, that'll be in the show notes as well. And there are organizations and there are support systems out there that you can find. They can help you. We can help you find what you need in whatever moment you're struggling.
And for anybody out there that doesn't have kids or maybe doesn't have a friend who's part of the LGBTQIA plus community, just remember empathy, kindness go a really long way, especially in this day and age. There's a lot of people, me for one, we're terrified, right? Because we're not quite sure what's going to happen with our livelihood. And even I know there's resources out there, but sometimes we get stuck in a hole. And just having these numbers, maybe print them up, put them on a refrigerator, have a safety list for you and for your kids or your friends. Listen with an open ear. Don't judge. It's really hard for some people to come out because they're afraid of repercussions from work or from family members or from losing their friend group. It's a bazillion other things out there. But you know what? We have mental health issues just like everybody else.
Right. And it's sad because that's true. We do have the same issues that anybody else in the world has, but there's another layer on top of it. We have this issue now that we're marginalized on top of that. So it makes what may be an already difficult situation on normal terms much more difficult when you factor in this other layer that the queer community has to deal with, this discrimination and alienation and all of these negative factors that just make life hard. And I have all these statistics in front of me at the moment. 50% of LGBTQ plus young people who wanted mental health care in the past year were not able to get it. It doesn't talk about why. Maybe I'm sure a lot of it could be, financial barriers, but the fact of the matter is you're talking about 50% of the young people out there who feel like they need help and they can't get it. So it becomes so critically important for people like us who have a platform, who have access to resources, to put them out there in the mainstream and get them into the hands of the people who need them the most, because that's how people can make it through these difficult periods when they're feeling isolated and they're feeling alone and they're feeling like they don't have any help.
Yeah, and the other thing that can help too, and libraries are a sacred space, but they also oftentimes offer up some really good resources for adults and kids alike. Having the phone number for the Trevor Project, having the phone number for 988 visible and available to people in our communities is super important. If you have a child and they're kind of not sure what they're going through and can't really self-identify, empathize with them, call a crisis line, get the kids the help that they need, because sometimes they don't know how to articulate what's going on in their own bodies because they don't understand it, because we all know that hormones are horrible, and like they help you to have like these crazy irrational thoughts. And like I said, for me, I was very, 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 very lucky. My parents were amazing. When I came out to them, I didn't have any problems, but I had friends who came out to their parents and they immediately got disowned. And it's both sides of the street. When I was coming out, we didn't have numbers like 988. We didn't have numbers like the Trevor Project. It's slowly growing some good momentum, but in today's day and age, a lot of us are getting that rug pulled out from underneath us. And just having these numbers available helps everybody. Like I said, I create a safety checklist. Okay, these are 3 numbers that I can call if I'm in crisis. These are 3 numbers I can call if I'm just not sure if I'm in crisis and I don't know where to turn. These are 3 numbers of somebody I can reach out to that's not a crisis hotline, but they're a friend that will understand. Having those numbers readily available, like I said, on a fridge or on the washing machine, taped to your bedroom door, having that readily available makes it so much easier to open up.
What if your business could recruit smarter, onboard faster, and support employee wellness all at once? Welcome to Schoser Talent and Wellness Solutions, where people-first strategy meets real results. With over 45 years of combined experience and 16 years specializing in UKG recruiting and onboarding systems, we help small and mid-sized businesses thrive. From the first application to full integration, we streamline your hiring process, reduce time to hire, and deliver seamless onboarding experiences. Our proprietary tools like the Recruiting and Onboarding Health Check and the Employee Mental Wellness Index turn insight into impact. At Schoser, we know that businesses are built on people. That's why we integrate wellness into every solution, promoting mental health, reducing burnout, and creating a culture where talent stays and thrives. Whether you're navigating change, implementing tech, or engaging your team, we tailor every solution to fit your goals. Visit schosersolutions.com today. Let's build a healthier, more productive future, one workplace at a time. I just want to clarify that you keep numbers on your washing machine. Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah, on a magnet. Okay.
Okay, all right, okay.
Listen, I'm short. Like my wife can't see what I pin on the washing machine, but me, it's the perfect height.
Okay, all right, I got it. Just seemed a little unorthodox, not judging, just clarifying, that's all.
Wow.
You're fine. So I want to talk about this notion of coming out and how challenging it can be, since you and I have both been there. I've had a child who's come out to me. I've come out to my family. You've had the same experience. We were both very, very fortunate to have had unconditional love and support. A lot of people have that, and I would say most people don't have quite that kind of a fortunate situation. So I think a lot of the people who are listening to us and our podcast are probably the parents of those people, those young people who might be struggling with identity and sexuality. And so just know, if you're listening to this and you have a child, I've had a lot of conversations lately with people who have reached out to me, just people I know either personally or through other people, and they've reached out because they know my story. And they say, I have a child who's struggling. What do I do? How do I help? One of the things that I want people to know about lifelines like Trevor Project in particular, since this is Pride and that's what we're talking about, you can call, if you're the parent of a child or you know a young person who's struggling, you can do what's called a third-party call. You can call on behalf of your child or a family member or a friend, and you can say, hey, listen, this is who I am. This is who I'm calling for. And I'm stuck. I need some help. They need some guidance. We're looking for some resources, and we'll put you in touch with the resources that you need. We'll connect you with the resources and the support that you need, or the language that you need. For instance, the Trevor Project happens to have something called the Coming Out Handbook, which is free, and it's available on their website at thetrevorproject.org. And it gives you language that you can actually pull from this handbook and use in real life conversations with family members that can help guide you and role play a little bit. So if you call us as a third party call, again, all of our calls are completely confidential and they're as anonymous as you want them to be. You don't have to give us your real name. We're not asking you for your address or your last name, but you have the ability to reach out to organizations like Trevor who specialize in this kind of help in particular. So if you're feeling like, oh my God, the person in my life is really, really struggling and I'm not equipped to handle what they're going through and those questions, you can call on their behalf or you can help them to call themselves. Just remember that.
I love that. And one thing I want to add is, if you know somebody that you think that they are gay, lesbian, trans, non-binary, whatever, and you are pressuring them to come out, stop. Because people need to come out in their own way. The more you pressure them, the worse they're going to feel. There are people's genetic makeup and their mental makeup could be completely different than yours, but it's conversations like that that make people think that maybe the world's not meant for me. And that leads to a lot of suicides, a lot of suicide attempts. It gets people to shut down, and just let people come out at their own pace. Do not pressure them.
That's a great point. The best way to think about that is meet the person exactly where they are. Wherever they are on that continuum is entirely their prerogative. If they're not ready, if they're nervous, if they only feel like they're comfortable talking to one or two people who are super close to them, let it happen the way that it's going to happen comfortably for them. Otherwise, it's going to be an incredibly negative experience. And that negativity will stay with them for the rest of their life in one way or another.
I've had probably 10 or 15 people come out to me in their lifetime, different phases of life. Some were really super excited about it, and some people were terrified. They're like, what's going to happen with work, and how do I hide this? And I'm like, you don't. Okay. Show up at who you are. Show up how you're comfortable in your own skin. I know that's terrifying right now, but show up as who you are. And even for me, we would normally go to Pride in the city, but I'm not going to do that this year. There's other things I can do local, like wear my beautiful Pride shirt. I'm going to wear this all month long. Show up for your local community. Show up for the kids in your community. Show up for the adults in your community. Show up for your trans friends in the community. And the fact that we have to have a month just for the LGBTQIA plus community is tough enough as it is. Like, until you've had your organization fought for in a Supreme Court to have a certain right, you have absolutely no idea what's happening with us. I know, just be nice. Can we all be a little kinder, please?
Yep. And you said a certain word a few times, and I want to dial into that word. You said community, but I want to take that word for a second in the context of the people who are struggling to come out. People who know who they are, but are afraid to show that to the world. I've been that person. You've been that person to some degree. And the one thing to remember is that, yes, okay, in some cases, depending on who you are, where you come from, there's a lot at stake. There may be a lot on the line. There may be religious beliefs that impact your decision. There may be, like you said, you're afraid to come out at work, or you're afraid of losing friends, or you're afraid of being disowned by your family. Like, there are a million different reasons why people hesitate or completely abandon coming out altogether. Remember one thing, and this is the word that you said, community. You will gain far more than you will ever lose by being authentically who you are in this world. Like, it actually like just got me choked up. It brings me to tears. Like, as a mom, and I know that not all moms will react this way. Everybody is different. When my daughter came out to us, it was, to this day, one of my proudest moments as a parent, to know that my child could come, because we talked about it after the fact, after she came out. We said, you weren't nervous at all, were you? I absolutely not nervous to tell you. I was just anxious to say it out in the world out loud for the first time. She knew that she could come to us and be supportive. She knew that no matter what, she would be loved and respected and valued. And so that was my proudest moment, I think, as a mom, to have my child know that she felt safe with us and that she could share that intimate part of herself. So, okay, there are people who will react the way that Dave and I did, and there'll be people who don't. And there'll be people who will unfortunately make the huge mistake of disowning their children or alienating their children. And okay, or people who are being cut off and disowned, I'll say it sucks. And I'm so sorry that you have to go through that. And gee, I know you're so sorry that they have to go through that. What you will gain, though, and the community, the queer community that you will gain, will overshadow in time everything that you may feel like you're losing in that moment. And the self-respect and gift that you give to yourself, like, there are no words for that.
I love that. And like, there's one other organization that I just want to kind of bring up, and it's called Free Mom Hugs, right?
Yep.
There's a ton of pride parades, pride things going on this month. If you happen to be in the neighborhood and you feel the same way that Lisa and I do about our community, volunteer. Go give a kid a hug. Because, like I said, being part of the LGBTQIA plus community right now is really hard, and we're all really struggling to make it through day to day. But sometimes that hug, like a hug, is probably one of the best things you could do. And I get a little teary because I know what it feels like to be loved and have that. I was fortunate.
Yeah, I know. And I'm really glad that you brought up Free Mom Hugs, because I'm part of the Massachusetts chapter of Free Mom Hugs. And every year at Pride, one of the things that I love the most about going to Pride as a mom is not just representing my community and supporting my child and being out there myself, but I have the shirt that free mom hugs, and I give out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hugs. I have people coming at me from all sides. They don't know me, I don't know them, and it is the most beautiful part of being out and celebrating Pride. And I've had people just collapse in tears in my arms, and I'm sure you have too, because they don't have that from the people that they need it from the most. So look, this whole conversation is to say that it is Pride Month. We are celebrating. We are staying strong. We are staying positive. We are moving forward. And we're also acknowledging that it is hard. It's hard, and you may struggle in one way or another, or you may know someone else who struggles because, okay, yes, it's Pride Month, but what we deal with in the queer community, we are dealing with it 12 months a year. We just get to be a little bit more colorful during the month of June, but we are
Rainbows and unicorns.
Yep. Yep. But we're here amplifying Pride Month, doing our part to amplify not only the beauty of Pride Month, but also amplifying the fact that it is still really hard wrapped up in all the joy. This is one of those times where sadness and joy can coexist. And we want you to remember that you're not alone. I mean, look, G and I want people, we're encouraging people, go to the survivors.net and hit us up. Slide into our DM, send us a voice memo, send us an email. If you need some extra help, some extra support, someone to listen to you, some extra resources, let us know. We have these things in our back pocket that we want to share with you. And we want to keep this conversation going because it's so important that people who may be struggling during Pride, and a lot of people will be, need you to know that resources and support and your community is out there ready to have your back all the time.
Thank you. What a perfect way to end this conversation.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. I'll see you next week.
Okay. Love you, Chi.
Love you. Thanks for joining us on The Survivors. Remember, no matter how tough things feel, you are enough, and the world needs you just the way you are. You're not alone in this journey. There's a community here, and every step forward counts. We're so grateful you took the time to listen, and we hope you'll take one day at a time. Just know there's always more light ahead.
Thanks for being here, friends. Just remember, help is out there in so many different places. So if you or someone you know is struggling, please call 988 and a trained crisis counselor like me will be there to help. You can also find an inclusive and comprehensive directory of mental health resources, tools, and content at thehelphub.co. Just remember that help is always just a call or a click away. We'll catch you next week. In the meantime, keep surviving.